In the late 1990s, a psychologist named Stanley Coren surveyed nearly 200 dog obedience judges across North America and the United Kingdom, asking each of them to rank breeds by how quickly dogs learned new commands and how reliably they obeyed on the first try, without repeated corrections. The results, published in his book The Intelligence of Dogs, became one of the most cited breed intelligence rankings in the world, and they revealed something most dog owners never actually think about carefully. Intelligence in dogs isn't one single trait measured on one single scale. It's actually several completely different types of smart, tangled together in a way that makes simple top 10 lists more misleading than most people realize. Today, we're breaking down how canine intelligence is genuinely measured by researchers, why certain breeds consistently rank higher on some scales and lower on others, and what any of this actually means in practice for the dog sitting next to you right now. Welcome back to Decoding Dogs, the channel dedicated to understanding what's really going on inside your dog's mind and instincts. Let's get into it properly, because this topic deserves more nuance than a simple ranked list usually gives it. The first thing worth understanding clearly is that researchers generally divide dog intelligence into three genuinely distinct categories, not one single measurement. Instinctive intelligence refers to what a breed was originally bred to do: herding, retrieving, guarding, tracking, or hunting. And every single breed excels at their own specific instinctive tasks, regardless of where they land on any general ranking. Adaptive intelligence measures a dog's ability to solve entirely new problems independently, using past experience and environmental cues to figure out unfamiliar situations without direct human instruction. And working, or obedience, intelligence measures specifically how quickly a dog learns brand new commands and how reliably they follow those commands once learned, which is the exact category Coren's famous, widely circulated ranking was built around almost exclusively. At the very top of Coren's obedience and working intelligence ranking sits the Border Collie, and this result isn't particularly surprising once you understand precisely what the breed was engineered for over centuries of selective breeding. Border Collies were developed specifically to interpret extremely subtle human signals, hand gestures, sharp whistles, small shifts in body posture, while working livestock across enormous distances where spoken commands often couldn't be heard clearly at all. That intense breeding pressure selected heavily for dogs capable of learning new signals rapidly and generalizing them correctly to brand new situations, which happens to be exactly what obedience-based intelligence testing measures most directly. In controlled research settings, Border Collies have demonstrated the ability to learn entirely new commands in fewer than 5 repetitions, and studies have recorded some individual Border Collies correctly identifying over 1,000 distinct object names by sight and sound, a vocabulary size that rivals what researchers typically see in young human toddlers. Poodles rank second on most obedience intelligence lists, a result that genuinely surprises people who primarily associate the breed with elaborate grooming and show ring appearance rather than working ability. Historically, poodles were bred specifically as water retrievers, a job that required considerable independent problem-solving ability in the water itself, combined with close, attentive responsiveness to a hunting partner's commands once back on land. That specific combination of independent thinking layered with strong command responsiveness translates directly into the kind of fast, reliable learning that obedience intelligence testing consistently rewards, which explains why poodles across all 3 size varieties tend to rank similarly high. German Shepherds round out the traditional top 3, largely due to their extensive, well-documented use in police work, military service, and guide dog training, roles that specifically demand rapid, precise learning of complex multi-step commands, often performed correctly under genuine pressure and distraction. Their consistently high ranking reflects many decades of deliberate selective breeding, specifically for trainability within high-stakes working environments, not merely general problem-solving ability measured in a quiet laboratory setting. Golden Retrievers and Doberman Pinschers typically round out the rest of the traditional top 5, and both breeds share a similar underlying story to the Poodle and German Shepherd: extensive historical use in working roles that specifically rewarded fast, reliable learning under real-world conditions, whether that meant retrieving downed game without damaging it or performing precise protection and detection work. But here's where this entire ranking system becomes considerably more nuanced, and where a lot of popular, oversimplified breed intelligence lists genuinely mislead casual readers. Basenjis and Afghan hounds consistently rank near the very bottom of Corin's obedience intelligence list, and it would be a significant mistake to conclude from that placement that these breeds are simply less intelligent overall compared to a Border Collie or Poodle. Both breeds were developed specifically for independent hunting work, tracking and pursuing fast-moving prey across long distances, entirely without direct human guidance for extended stretches of time, sometimes hours at a stretch. That deeply bred independence is precisely what causes these breeds to score lower on obedience-focused testing, because obedience intelligence specifically measures willingness to follow human direction quickly and consistently, not raw problem-solving capability in general. A Basenji successfully navigating unfamiliar, difficult terrain to independently track down prey is genuinely demonstrating strong adaptive intelligence in that moment, simply not the specific type of intelligence Corin's obedience-focused rankings were ever designed to capture or measure. This exact distinction matters enormously once you look past simple obedience rankings and into adaptive intelligence testing specifically. Adaptive intelligence testing, which measures a dog's ability to solve genuinely novel problems they've never encountered before, frequently tells a very different story than obedience rankings alone suggest. Studies involving object permanence tasks, where researchers hide a treat or toy from view and measure how quickly and confidently a dog understands the object still exists somewhere despite being hidden, have shown that independent working breeds like terriers, sighthounds, and even some primitive breeds often perform remarkably well, despite ranking quite low on traditional obedience scales. Their genuine intelligence shows up clearly as resourcefulness and independent problem-solving rather than fast compliance with human-issued commands, a difference that a simple ranked list completely fails to communicate to the average reader. There's also a growing and genuinely fascinating body of research specifically into social and emotional intelligence in dogs, a category that doesn't factor into Corin's original rankings at all, despite arguably being one of the most remarkable cognitive abilities dogs possess as a species. Multiple independent studies have shown that dogs across virtually every breed, regardless of working history or obedience ranking, are remarkably skilled at reading human facial expressions and reliably following human pointing gestures toward hidden objects or food. This is a skill that even chimpanzees, humans' closest living genetic relatives, generally struggle to perform reliably in controlled testing. This strongly suggests that thousands of years of close domestication alongside humans selected heavily for a specific type of social intelligence oriented directly toward reading and responding to human behavior, a type of intelligence that doesn't correlate strongly with breed or traditional obedience ranking at all, and instead shows up broadly and consistently across nearly every domesticated dog breed regardless of size, working history, or country of origin. Memory capacity represents another genuinely interesting angle researchers have explored more recently, somewhat separate from both obedience and adaptive intelligence categories. Certain breeds, particularly working and herding types, have demonstrated notably strong long-term memory for spatial layouts and previously learned routines, an ability directly tied to their historical use navigating and remembering complex working environments like large farms or expansive grazing land. This spatial memory doesn't always correlate cleanly with either obedience rankings or adaptive problem-solving scores, forming essentially its own separate dimension of canine cognitive ability worth considering on its own terms. It's also genuinely important to mention that individual variation within any single breed is frequently larger than the average difference measured between two different breeds entirely. A poorly socialized, understimulated Border Collie can struggle noticeably with basic commands that an exceptionally well-trained mixed-breed shelter dog masters with relative ease. Breed rankings inherently describe population-level tendencies, built from careful averages calculated across hundreds or even thousands of individual dogs surveyed over time, not firm guarantees about the specific capabilities of any single dog you happen to bring home from a breeder or shelter. So what does all of this actually mean in practice? Whether you're choosing a new dog or simply trying to better understand the one already sleeping at your feet right now. A breed ranked highly on obedience intelligence specifically, like a Border Collie, Poodle, or German Shepherd, will generally pick up brand new commands faster and respond to them more consistently over time, which matters enormously if you're specifically looking for a highly trainable working companion, competitive obedience partner, or service dog candidate. A breed ranked considerably lower on that same specific scale, like a Basenji or Afghan hound, isn't necessarily less capable or less intelligent in any meaningful overall sense. It's simply less inclined, by centuries of deliberate breeding, to prioritize following human instructions over its own independent judgment in the moment. A trait that made these breeds genuinely excellent, self-sufficient hunting partners for many centuries, and can make them a wonderful, endlessly interesting, if occasionally stubborn, companion. If this changed how you think about your own dog's intelligence, or finally explained a behavior pattern you've been quietly trying to understand for years, let us know in the comments exactly what breed you have, and whether this breakdown genuinely matches what you've personally experienced living with them. And don't forget to subscribe to Decoding Dogs, because next time, we're breaking down why some dogs develop noticeable separation anxiety, while others seem completely, almost suspiciously unbothered by being left alone for hours at a time.